Minute Maid Park, the site tonight for Game 2 of this 3-game series. It's also the midpoint of this 9-game homestand. The Astros taking on the Mariners. After a loss last night, the Astros looking to bounce back. Oakland had the night off, so the Astros lead dropped down to 4 games. They lead by 4 with a dozen to go. 150 games in the books and 12 remaining. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. And that didn't necessarily go as well as the Astros hoped for last night, but a chance to turn things around and still win a series.
Absolutely. Rough loss last night with a big swing. Didn't score enough on offense to pick the pitching up, but tonight is a night that they can turn things around, hopefully win the series.
Unfortunately, that's kind of been a theme this year with the Astros facing the Mariners. Much better in Seattle than here at home.
Yeah, they might as well flip dugouts, flip uniforms, and just put the other team up in the Northwest, bring the Seattle Mariners down here, because it has been the opposite field advantage for these two teams. The numbers not very good for the Astros at home against the Mariners. They've actually given up 12 home runs here at Minute Maid Park to the Seattle Mariners, which is a little concerning. So I would like to see them keep the ball in the ballpark against the Mariners, maybe scratch out a couple of small ball type runs tonight.
Interesting for the Mariners tonight because they're going to face a guy they've never seen before in Josh James.
Yeah, and hopefully the surprise attack of Josh James comes out there and proves its worth. We've seen him be very good against some subpar teams. We've seen him be very good against some very good teams. And I think the reason he's still here and getting opportunities is because of that time he came out of the bullpen for the Houston Astros in Fenway Park and struck out some very tough hitters. I expect to see the same thing that we saw last time out in Detroit. A lot of fuel and very good slider, the occasional changeup, but I can't wait to see Big Flames James on the mound tonight.
Making his second big league start, he'll face the Mariners tonight. Seattle will have Mike Leake on the mound. A couple of righties this evening as the Astros and Mariners get ready for baseball on a Tuesday night. By Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Volkswagen. Last year, Evan Gattis hit a big home run in the ALCS. Who, under the radar, might step up in the postseason this year? Julia Morales will be by to tell us who might after this.
Game set, only 12 games remaining in the 2018 regular season schedule, and the Astros have a postseason berth just beyond their fingertips. Just 3 is the magic number for the Astros. Of course, the ultimate goal for them is to win that division, but when you're that close to the playoffs, that means manager AT HOU and his staff have some tough decisions to make as they start thinking about a potential playoff roster. And what they learned about last year, it's not always the guy you expect that comes up with a big hit or a big play in the playoffs. Jake Marisnick not on that postseason roster for the Houston Astros this year. Could he make a difference this time around? We've seen him do it all season long in the outfield, especially last night. How about the plays he made in one inning? 2 of them. It's our defensive rankings presented by GMC, and that tells us that Marisnick, the only guy in the majors who's made 100% of the catches that are 1 to 4 stars this season. But you knew that already if you watched Jake Marisnick. However, that defense, they are at their best when he is out there in the outfield, along with George Springer, Josh Reddick, defensive replacement sometimes, but they are a better team. Who are some other guys that could potentially make this playoff roster or make a difference in the playoffs? It's fun to look at some of these guys. Evan Gattis going to be on there. He's DH, though, could come off the bench as well in the postseason. We saw him with a huge home run in the ALCS. Tony Kemp was not on any playoff roster last year, but has been huge in that 9-hole for them. We just talked about Jake and what he's done. Miles Straw is the interesting name we like to talk about. He is known as the fastest guy in the organization, and we know how important the extra 90 feet can be in the playoffs. Could be really valuable. And then there's tonight's starting pitcher, guys, who's warming up right now, Josh James. It's really fun to watch him run that fastball up to 101 miles per hour, and AJ's loved the poise he's shown thus far, showing resilience after hits or even home runs. That could be big for them too, TK.
Yeah, if Miles has the fastest feet on the team, this guy's got the fastest arm. Josh James makes his second major league start.
It's good to see Josh out there. We talked about him earning the right to get on the bump for the Houston Astros. He has an electric arm. We've seen it in a start. We've seen it also out of that bullpen. Did a great job in Fenway Park, bringing a fastball, slider, and a little bit of a changeup every once in a while.
Facing the Mariners for the first time with Mitch Haniger at the top, followed by Gene Segura. Robinson Cano will play first base tonight. Nelson Cruz DHs in his cleanup. Denard Span, Kyle Seager, Ben Gamble, Chris Herman, and D. Gordon. You might notice they are loaded up with lefties tonight, facing the hard-throwing right-hander, the 25-year-old Josh James. All 5 hitters from Denard Span down, 5 through 9. are lefties. So we are underway, game 2 of this series, and Mitch Haniger takes a look at a strike. Facing James for the first time. You see as much video as you can, but until you see that right arm bringing it around 100, you might see these Mariners on a little recon mission first time around. Now he misses the slider. It's 0-2. That was a changeup.
Pulled the string on him.
Nice. Righty on righty changeup right out of the gate.
Fearless, getting some work done in between starts.
In on the hands of Haniger at 99. I think Mitch Haniger is going to have a report for his teammates about this guy.
Yeah, get it ready.
Get it ready, and he's got a changeup too.
I think he just fouled that one off the brilliant pine tar that he has on his bat, trying to cover it up. Because catchers will see that, pitchers will see that, and they're like, oh, okay, he didn't just miss that. I just almost blew him up.
1-2 the count. James made his big league debut as a starter on the first day of this month against the Angels. Came out of the bullpen in Fenway and in Comerica Park on the last road trip. On the ground towards Bregman. Alex makes the play for out number 1. The Astros starting defense is presented by Xfinity. Tony Kemp checking his notes in his cap as he's in center field with Marwin Gonzalez and George Springer on either side. Alex Bregman and Carlos Correa, they are on the left side. Jose Altuve and Yuli Gurriel on the right side. And the guy who has caught Josh James in both of his big league starts, Brian McCann, behind the plate. McCann also worked with James at the minor league level when McCann was rehabbing from that knee injury. Here's a ball in the right field. Segura sends Springer back, and George circles around it before he finally makes the play for out number 2.
Josh James talked about the pitches that he has: fastball, slider, changeup, and there you see the average velocity on those pitches accordingly. Heavy on that fastball with good reason, because he can get into the upper 90s and touch 101 every once in a while, but that changeup kind of being mixed in a little bit. We saw it early on to Mitch Haniger, but it's good to have a little bit of a wrinkle with that slider and then a change of pace with that changeup to keep hitters off balance.
When he made his first start here on the first, he did throw a pitch 101.1 in the first inning.
Good.
I think there was a little extra adrenaline rush that night.
Yeah, he was amped, rightfully so.
Here's Robinson Cano. James starting behind Framber Valdez, who was in 5 innings only allowed 2 hits of shutout baseball. He walked 5 and he struck out 6, did Valdez. James delivers and Cano sends one into center field for a base hit. Oh, Robinson Cano, a 2-out base runner for the Mariners. Nothing new for Robbie. He is a .322 career hitter against the Astros.
MD Anderson strike zone, shows you the first pitch out of the zone. This one out over the plate allows Robinson to get those arms extended and rifle it up the middle.
Oh, Cano on first base with 2 outs and Nelson Cruz the batter. Cruz with 36 home runs, 5th in the American League. Also tied for his team lead in runs batted in with 89, tied with Mitch Haniger. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
I think what also makes Josh James unique in the brief sample size that we've seen him is the velocity is obviously there, but he's done a very good job of locating on the edges. Change up again.
Couple righty on righty changeups out of the gate.
Well, and check out the location too. Middle in. I'm not sure if that's where McCann wanted it, but it's right below that first fastball that he threw. So coming out of that right arm looks similar to the pitch that he just saw.
McCann and James establishing the fastball changeup combo early. And he goes back to it for a strikeout. How about that? Josh James, impressive, getting Cruz to end the inning. Southwest Airlines with George Springer at the top, followed by Jose Altuve. Alex Bregman hits third. Marwin is in left field batting cleanup. Tyler White, the DH, bats fifth. It'll be Carlos Correa, Yuli Gurriel in the 6 and 7 spots. Then Brian McCann and Tony Kemp.
Mike Leake on the mound for the Seattle Mariners, making his 30th start, 10-9 on the season. Gives up a lot of hits, doesn't strike a lot of guys out, pitches to contact.
And he'll do that a lot, throws a lot of strikes, keeps it around the zone. Facing the Astros for the 4th time this year. And George sends one into center field. Mitch Haniger, who played right last night, is in center tonight and puts it away for out number 1.
The Astros take on Mike Leake today, brought to you by AARP. This season, 3 games, 18 innings, 23 hits given up, 10 runs, a .319 batting average. 2-0 at Safeco here at Minute Maid. It's a loss.
He has gone exactly 6 innings in all 3 of those outings as he faces Jose Altuve. Strike called.
Leake's not a guy that you can just sit on 1 or 2 pitches. He's going to come at you, fastball, actually a 2-seam fastball that sinks a little bit. Then he's going to go to that cut fastball quite a bit. Slider, cutter, curveball, changeup, and a fastball.
And like last night's guy, although not quite as low in velocity, he's not a guy that's going to bring it in the mid-90s or low 90s.
Low velocity means you got to be crafty. And it worked last night.
Since the All-Star break, he's only walked 5 batters over 56 1/3 innings. He's ahead of Altuve here, 0-2. Doesn't get him to chase there. A little bit low. It's 1-2. Leake has been better since the All-Star break with a 3.5 ERA. And a foul tip caught by Chris Herman, the catcher, for the 2nd out. So Altuve down on strikes. Leake doesn't get a whole lot of strikeouts against the Astros in those 18 innings of work. He has struck out 15. Here's Alex Bregman. Bregman had a streak snap last night, 42 consecutive games reaching base. That was the 4th longest in Astros history. But Alex, with an 0 for last night, hits the ball sharply, but at the shortstop Segura on the first pitch. And Leake has a 1-2-3 inning. Hit number 3,000, June 28, 2007. One of the great moments in Astros history, and it happened right here at Minute Maid Park. Hall of Famer with all the flashes popping. Sends one into right center field for hit number 3,000, which has been a favorite memory for those who have been here through the 18 years of Minute Maid Park. And tonight on Twitter Tuesday, we ask you to tweet us your pictures, your memories of your favorite moment in Minute Maid Park history over the past 18 seasons. Denard Span will lead things off, facing Josh James. James allowing a single in the first inning and misses outside. Span is 1-0. Span threw some changeups to righties in that first inning. Got Nelson Cruz swinging over a changeup to end the first for his lone strikeout. When Julia opened the show mentioning the possibility of some guys that could fly under the radar in the regular season and then help this team in the postseason. James is an intriguing candidate because he's got that electric arm, and even though he and Valdez both have high upside, he has been able to command the zone a little bit better, where you could trust him a little more coming out of the bullpen in a tight situation, as opposed to Fromber, who's been successful but has been a bit of a roller coaster with the walks.
Yeah, you want a guy that's consistent and has command, and Josh James has shown that. The velocity is very appealing, but the ability to locate it is even better. And we kind of saw him in a pseudo playoff type atmosphere when AJ brought him into the game in Fenway, which I thought was really interesting. But the way he reacted in that moment gives you an idea that he might be viable in a playoff type situation.
Faced the Red Sox lineup one time through, did not walk anybody, allowed one hit in 2 2/3 innings of shutout baseball and struck out 4.
Well, I think what's appealing also about Josh James is he throws right-handed. In the American League, there are a lot of very powerful, very good right-handed hitters on the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees who he would match up reasonably well against, as opposed to Fromber Valdez.
It will be an interesting discussion for sure. Tonight we'll go a little ways towards figuring out Josh James' candidacy for one of those 25 spots in the postseason roster. He's 3-2 here on Denard Span. Span begins a string of 5 consecutive left-hand batters for the Mariners lined up against James tonight. And a pop-up. Playable. Bregman. James is over there, and Bregman makes the catch. Josh James wanting to make sure with Bregman in the shift that somebody was covering the left side. Victor's favorite magical moment seeing Biggio's last game in person, capturing his last AB. First he thought they got the call wrong and it was 3,061, but he actually chalk up the line. Working as a member of the Coca-Cola Park Patrol from 01 to 07. Lifelong friends along the way. Tonight's Twitter Tuesday, your favorite memory here at Minute Maid Park. Here's Kyle Seager. Seager riding a 7-game hitting streak. 9 for 26 during that stretch, batting .346. Takes a strike, it's 1-1. Changeup in play early and effective for Josh James. Now back to the fastball. Julia, what was the game plan going in for James? We've seen him go fastball changeup a lot early.
Yeah, AJ did want to see how he was going to adjust to the lineup. Being that starter, having to work through this lineup with those lefties, the changeup is going to be very important for him, and it's going to be a good test. AJ wants to see him being more versatile out there, and don't rely on the 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Don't be so one-dimensional. That's kind of his challenge to Josh James tonight.
Looks like he's accepted the challenge.
Hundo.
He just hit 100.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Couldn't help it.
No, it was kind of funny because Julian says, told you to throw 100, and then he hits 100 for the first time.
This is why I'm not a pitching coach, because I have to say, if you got 100 in the tank, bring it.
But it's also been good to see him mix in the secondary stuff.
Makes a hundo look that much firmer when you've got a couple of wrinkles in there. My goodness.
Mariners not loving these at-bats against James early on. That's his second strikeout. He's retired 5 of the first 6.
And because he has those secondary pitches, granted it is 98 miles an hour, but in a 2-strike count, Seager is behind that fastball. And on our Mattress Firm Supremo, you get a good idea how quickly that ball is jumping out of the hand of Josh James.
I love that angle.
Yeah, it really gives you an idea how quickly that baseball gets on the hitter.
There's a strike. Van Gamel taking a fastball. James has pretty much just gone with whatever Brian McCann has put down. McCann catching his 1,491st game behind the plate. And that last strikeout actually pushed him past Carlton Fisk, 7th all-time in putouts for a catcher in the history of this game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, BMAC has logged a lot of innings behind that dish, and with his veteran presence and knowledge, the young righty is just going with what BMAC puts down there and working with a good rhythm. He only 6 ahead of Brian McCann now after he passed Carlton Fisk. Pudge Rodriguez first. Brad Ausmus is in the 3 spot. Jason Kendall second. AJ Pierzynski, Yadi Molina, and Gary Carter are the top 6. And then Brian McCann 7th all-time in baseball history. Swing and a miss.
Hundo.
Hundo! Josh James' 3rd strikeout in a 1-2-3 second.
The AT&T Sportsnet app from iTunes or Google Play, or visit attsportsnet.com to stream on your computer. Log in with your cable account and you're all set. Available for those with AT&T and their TV subscription. Blackouts and territorial restrictions apply. If you need help, just ask those guys. Lumber, you got it up there?
Yeah, I think TK handed Ash and Brownie his BlackBerry and they didn't know what to do.
Bottom half of the 2nd inning, scoreless, Mariners and Astros.
Just a reminder that Big Brother's always watching.
Yep. Always got an eye on you. Well, Marwin, you saw his numbers against Leake. They're the best of anybody in the lineup, and he adds to that total. He's now 7 for 12 against Mike Leake with that single to lead off the bottom half of the 2nd inning.
No Player Does More is presented by HEB. The Shark. Getting things done here at Minute Maid Park. .338 batting average. The OPS absolutely astonishing. And then it gets even better when he has runners in scoring position. Almost jumps to 1,600. And don't forget what he's done from the 7th inning on, coming up with some clutch ABs, big home runs. We'd like to tack on some runs early for Josh James.
Takes a strike from Lee. Tyler has reached base in 9 straight games. Sitting right on the edge of 300. Astros limited last night by the Mariners pitching staff. Wade LeBlanc for 5 1/3 innings, and then their bullpen came in and shut down the Astros. Didn't allow a base runner after LeBlanc left the game. D. Gordon puts away the pop-up off the bat of Tyler White for the first out of the 2nd inning. Now bring up Carlos Correa. Correa, like White, has also reached in 9 straight games. 34th game back off the DL after missing 36 games while on the DL. Takes a strike. Mike Leake, 30-year-old, making his 30th start of the season. Fourth time against the Astros this year. 15th start. Excuse me, 14th start against the Astros in his career. Began his career on the National League side with the Reds. Moved to San Francisco in 2015, 2 years with the Cardinals, and then moved from the Cardinals to the Mariners last season. In the shallow center field, Haniger comes on, puts it away for out number 2. So Correa retired. That'll bring up Yuli Gurriel. Astros start the night with a magic number to reach the playoffs of 3. Combined wins with Tampa Bay Rays losses totaling 3, and also the magic number to win in the division stays at 9 after last night. They lead Oakland by 4 games with 12 to play. Seattle's still alive, but will pretty much have to run the table and need a lot of help. They can max out at 95 wins, and Oakland currently in the 2nd wild card spot already has 90 wins. On the ground toward short, Segura will flip it to Gordon, and that'll do it for the Astros. Leadoff base hit, 1 man left on base.
Chevy Stropole. It's on Twitter at ATT Sportsnet SW. Here's our question. Which Astros role player that did not play in the 2017 postseason will have the biggest 2018 playoff impact? Jake Marisnick with that defense, Tony Kemp, maybe off the bench, or Martin Maldonado, the new acquisition. Behind the dish. Let us know. Vote. We'll let you know which one wins later. DK.
All right, Julia. Tony Kemp in there tonight playing center field. Josh Reddick had to leave the game last night with a bad ankle, but good news on Josh. He was available tonight if AJ chose, but wanted to give him a little extra time to get ready for tomorrow's game. Certainly could see him off the bench at some point tonight. Chris Herman will lead things off. Mariners and Astros with a hit apiece, and that's it so far. Josh James has needed 27 pitches in 2 innings. Mike Leake has needed just 15. And James delivers a strike to start this inning. Josh James, over 12 2/3 innings this year, has only allowed 7 hits. He has struck out 20. And the 5 runs he's allowed have come on 2 big swings. A 3-run home run by Cole Calhoun against the Angels in his first start, and a 2-run home run in his last relief appearance against the Tigers by Nicholas Castellanos.
The fastball that Calhoun hit was just a good piece of hitting on a fastball inside. But that slider in Detroit was just a cement mixer that laid out over the plate that was raked into the left field seats, unfortunately.
Chris Herman, D. Gordon, Mitch Haniger leading off for the Mariners. And it's 3-1. Rare hitter that James fell behind. A 1-1 pitch was pretty close to a strike. We called a little bit inside. ...171 strikeouts at the minor league level, now 20 more at the major league level. Mentioned Charlie Morton has a chance to join Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole in the 200 strikeout club. This kid could do it as well with the combined numbers between the minors and the majors. And he loses Herman here, ball 4. So a leadoff walk issued to start the 3rd.
Seen Fromber and Josh James have issues with the walk to the guys in the bottom 3rd of the lineup. It's no offense to those guys in the bottom 3rd of the lineup. It's just they're there for a reason. You got to go out there and attack those guys. You could make up a little bit better excuse if you walk a Haniger, Cano, Segura, Cruz. But if you're walking 7, 8, 9 guys and not forcing them to hit their way on, that's on you as a pitcher.
Tony Kemp drifts over and makes the catch off the fly ball that D. Gordon hits for out number 1. Kemp hearing it from Springer because George originally called it, and then Tony Kemp, the center fielder, took control. Gotta love the interaction between Astros players, especially when George is involved.
Well, Tony Kemp, you're a quarterback of the outfield and center field. He's probably telling George, hey, it's my game.
I'm center.
Yep. You go back to your corner.
Call strike on Haniger. It's 0-1. Haniger grounded out to Bregman his first time up. Haniger led off last night's game with a base hit. Drew a couple of walks in that opening game. Here's a slow tapper. Bregman can't make the play on the short hop, and Haniger reaches on an infield hit.
It's a tough play, do or die, charging in like that after Josh James creates soft contact. And that's one where if you go on the short hop and it doesn't hit you in the pocket of the glove and it hits in the web or the fingers, turns into a little bit of just, you know, like a highlight mitt where it just kind of ricochets out of there. doesn't really make its way up into the pocket where he can actually squeeze that thing and hold on.
Now James will face Gene Segura with first and second and 1 out. Segura flied out to right his first time up. Still not posted it as a hit or an error yet. I think that's a tough play for Bregman, especially with Haniger running.
Well, obviously, if he catches it, he gets an out, but it's such a tough play on the do or die.
They are going to give him a hit, and James starts off Segura with a changeup for a swinging strike. Julia mentioned how the changeup could be effective tonight with all the lefties in the lineup, and that's what you imagine would be part of the game plan. But he's also thrown some really impressive changeups to right-hand hitters. Riding fastball stays a little low for a ball. It's 1-1. You know, this is a fastball that can fool umpires too at times because it has such great run to it.
And it's coming in there pretty quick.
Wish we could have heard the reports Brian McCann gave on Josh James when he joined the team after catching with the minor league level, because BMAC's seen a lot of pitching in his lifetime, but you don't see many arms that throw this hard.
It would have been entertaining, because if Brian McCann likes something, he's going to tell you.
Astros did line up McCann to make one of his starts behind the plate for the Fresno Grizzlies, with James pitching at Tacoma. Two and two the count.
And it's about relationships too. Brian McCann establishing that relationship down and in the minor leagues when he was on that rehab assignment. It's one thing to go out there and catch him, but he was also having time on the bench, talking to him as a teammate, as maybe a locker mate or somebody in the clubhouse. So he's got a good idea not only about the stuff that Josh James is bringing, but also about the human that you're going to put in that clubhouse as far as character is concerned.
Segura stayed with that changeup. It stays 2-2. Infield hit by Haniger after an opening walk to Chris Herman. Swing and a miss. Got him with the slider. Segura down on strikes. That's 4 strikeouts for Josh James and a big second out with runners on. The Astros take on the Angels at Minute Maid Park this Saturday. 10,000 fans in attendance will receive a 2018 team photo and 2019 upcoming Astros schedule. For tickets and info, visit astros.com/promotions. Only 5 more home games, including tonight. Mariners and Astros tomorrow. Then the Angels are in town after the final off day of the year on Thursday. Here's Robinson Cano. He singled his first time up. Cano takes a fastball outside. Into center field. Kemp is there, and he puts it away for the final out of the inning. A walk, a base hit, and 2 men left on base.
The Astros at Safeco Field trying to get some of that mojo from the northwest down here to the southwest for the Houston Astros to get some runs on the board. McCann coming up. He got a cannonball out there at Safeco. George had a couple of home runs. We've seen Marwin drive the baseball. Even Martin Maldonado getting in on the action. 14 home runs given up by Mariner pitching in Safeco Field. A little bit different story. The scripts flip here at Minute Maid Park, but trying to get some of that road love here at home against Seattle.
McCann leading things off and takes a strike from Mike Leake. Leake has delivered 16 pitches tonight, 14 of them for strikes. McCann fouls one away. Mentioned Leake making his 30th start of the year. This is his 7th consecutive year of 30 or more starts. And tonight he began with 34 walks. Has a chance to get to 7 straight years of 30 or more starts and 50 or fewer walks. He doesn't walk McCann, but he hits him with an 0-2 pitch. How about that?
It's going to slow him down.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shin. Right on that shin. I got that new mayo etchup. You put that on your shin burger.
Here's Tony Kemp. Tony 3 for 5 in his career against Mike Leake. We've known all along that Kemp's numbers are the best of any number 9 hitter this year. 331 OPS over 900. Nobody else better in that spot. Today they did a little historical work in the Astros notes. His on base percentage, second best in that 9 spot for a full season. Since 1935, the last time somebody had a higher on base percentage. Hitting in the 9th spot in the order.
How about that?
Pitcher Wes Farrell, who could hit. Brownlee said he was one of the best hitting pitchers ever.
He was there?
Apparently he was there.
What?
No, he wasn't there, but he knew the history. The guy threw 322 innings that year and had an on-base percentage of .431. Wes Farrell.
Take that, Babe Ruth.
Kemp is at .418 to start the day. Now Tony with 7 more plate appearances can say minimum 200 plate appearances and he'll be the leader if he stays at his current on-base percentage. But it's been a good year no matter how you slice or dice it for Tony.
No, Tony has been an absolute welcome addition to these Astros, doing a great job in that bottom part of the order. We talk about it all the time. Turning that lineup over and getting to the big boys with guys on base is a big deal.
He goes to work with 2 strikes here, down 1 and 2, and sends one sharply past the first baseman Cano, all the way down into the corner. Brian McCann heading to third. He'll be held up. A ball just being brought back in. But with McCann coming off that knee surgery, Gary Pettis, normally aggressive, plays it very conservatively here at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out.
Yeah, nobody out. Don't force the issue or put Brian McCann in a tough spot where he might risk injury. But Tony Kemp with 2 strikes, raking that ball past Robinson Cano. It kind of surprised Robinson Cano. He didn't know what to do with it. Not real aggressive getting off the bag, but played that into a double.
Didn't look like he was maybe set for that.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it because I have a lot of respect for Robinson Cano, but I don't think he was anticipating the ball being hit that hard right at him.
Another 2-strike hit for Tony Kemp. Mariners play the infield back here with George Springer hitting 2nd and 3rd. Nobody out. And Springer sends one up the middle. That's a base hit. McCann will score. Kemp gets to 3rd. Ball is bobbled. Springer trying for 2nd, safe. 1-0 Astros on the RBI by George Springer. And a new celebration.
Of course there is. Tony Kemp couldn't make that ball be on his left-hand side, so he holds his ground. Brian McCann's going to score easy. So good base running, making the decision, being safe with things. Tony Kemp And how about George Springer? Continuing to move the feet, make the turn, watch the baseball, and get into second base. There's not a metric for that. You can't put it through a computer to say that that was a heads-up play, but just to the eye and understanding the savvy that George has, that was a great move running himself into scoring position.
Jose Altuve grounds one to third. Here comes Kemp. Bubble, and the throw in time to get Altuve. It's a 2-0 game as Altuve grounds out, and Tony Kemp scores.
Speed also forces the defense to make decisions and maybe hurry up the play a little bit. Tony Kemp going on contact, takes off and puts Seager in a tough spot with that short hop. Unable to make the play at home, but has enough time to recover and get Altuve at first base.
One out, Springer on second. Here's Alex Bregman. Astros being very aggressive in this inning, seeing how Leake had thrown so many strikes in the first couple of innings.
Well, don't let the pitcher dictate the at-bat when you have runners in scoring position. I think teams that go out and hit well with runners in scoring position take advantage of early strikes.
Bregman checks his swing here. Kind of three mishandles for the Mariners in this inning. Two of them didn't really cost them too much. The gamble bobble on the ball in the corner didn't cost any extra bases. I'm not sure if Seager would have had a play on Kemp or not. Kemp was coming down the line in a hurry, but the bobble certainly took that out of play. There was an error charge to Span to allow Springer to go from first to second. Well, Bregman with just one hit so far in this homestand. Part of the reason has been he hasn't seen a lot of pitches to hit. 5 walks in the 4 previous games, all of them coming against Arizona. And here, Mike Leake, who had thrown only 4 pitches out of the zone to the first 11 hitters, has a 2-1 count to Bregman. There's a strike. Alex 4 for 7 with 2 doubles in his career against this Mariners right-hander. And the count's full. Inning started with an 0-2 pitch that hit Brian McCann in the shin. Tony Kemp followed with a double down the line in right. George Springer an RBI single. Jose Altuve an RBI groundout. Bregman sends one into center field. Haniger puts it away for out number 2. Now 2 outs, that'll bring up Marwin Gonzalez. Marwin likes hitting against Mike Leake, and he likes hitting against the Seattle Mariners. His base hit his first time up, his 92nd career hit against Seattle. Next closest, Oakland and Texas with 67. He has 25 more hits against this team than any other. Wow. So 17 home runs, a career best against any team. Oakland the next closest with 11.
StatCast AI powered by AWS. Gene Segura maybe not in that full pull shift because of the runner at second base, trying to play George a little bit closer to second base, but a lot of baseballs up the middle and to that pull side for Marwin Gonzalez.
Marwin has 4 consecutive base hits against Leake. And sends this one deep to left center field. Span all the way back, looking up, off the top of the wall. Springer will score easily. Marwin into second with the RBI double. It's 3-0. Consecutive hits against Mike Leake for Marwin.
AJ's going to ask him to take a peek at this because this ball was crushed. Marwin leaning back on that 90-mile-an-hour fastball up out over the plate. My goodness, that is beautiful in contact. Drives through it nicely. Might have been off the railing above that yellow line for me.
All right, I'll take that. Could be his 18th career home run against Seattle.
Estimated 385. 102 miles an hour off the barrel of Marwin Gonzalez.
Did it hit the top of the wall or did it come back off the railing? If it came back off the railing, it's 4-0 instead of 3-0.
Either way, Marwin swinging the bat well against the Mariners and Mike Leake.
They just showed it here on the big screen, and we may have something.
I'm telling you.
Home run, Marwin Gonzalez. It is 4-0 Astros as they turn over the call on the field. Home run number 16 on the season for Marwin, and his 18th career mark against Seattle.
What in Safeco is going on here at Minute Maid Park right now?
We're talking about doing curls.
Hey, you got to get in the gym.
Oh, yeah. Now George watching it all the way out, too, as he ran the third. The telltale sign were the fans up above the C&D scrap metal sign who were giving the home run sign shortly after that ball clanked off the rail. They could see. And they got it right as they turned over that call. Marwin giving the Astros a 4-0 lead.
Yep, now they got to call all their buddies and tell them to watch for them on TV. Who's going to wave first? Somebody didn't want to be on camera. They got busted.
Tyler White goes down swinging, but a 4-run inning for the Astros, capped off by Marwin's 2-run homer.
Kendra Scott, recognizable jewelry, that's for sure, especially in Texas, is a Klein graduate. And also September being very special to her. It's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. She's out in the community, she's giving back, but also teaming up with the Astros. And the Astros hosting the Candle Lighters tonight, which supports families of those with cancer, children with cancer, of course. And Angela is joining me now. And you have Charlie, who's not here. He's at home. He's watching baseball, but was diagnosed. I do want to ask you, what was your involvement? How did you get involved with candle lighters, and what do they mean to you?
Well, our son Charlie was diagnosed with stage 4 high-risk neuroblastoma cancer back in May of 2012. And one of the first knocks that came to our door in the hospital room were the sweet parent consultants from Candle Lighters, and they were offering a word of hope. They had walked the road that I was walking. They had a child who was surviving a childhood cancer diagnosis, and quite frankly, they were my first ray of hope and sunshine in a really dark time.
Well, how can people help? How can people learn more about Candle Lighters?
Well, we'd love for you to volunteer. I serve as a board member now and am so grateful for the parent support and parking assistance that Candle Lighters provides. You can go to the website candle.org.
How is Charlie doing now?
Charlie is doing well. He will finish his last scans in this December, and moves on to long-term survivor, and we are truly grateful for that. Yeah.
Fabulous. And there are a lot of people here with Candle Lighter shirts on. What did you say, 200 people that the Astros host?
Yes, 200 families that the Astros have hosted tonight. And, just such a blessing and a gift and kind of a break, a breather for these families who deal with really heavy stuff on a daily basis. So thank you for that.
Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the game tonight. Candle Lighters, along with Sunshine Kids, beneficiaries of our charity game this Friday night. Remember that. But pretty cool out here. It's a great group, and they just saw some exciting stuff, guys.
They sure did, Julian.
Rowdy group out here.
And thank you so much for shedding light on these great causes the last few broadcasts. Hope that people will get a chance to check out candle.org and find out more about the Candle Lighters. Josh James striking out Nelson Cruz to start this inning, his 5th strikeout. Got Cruz on another changeup.
It's a highly effective pitch, because I guarantee you every scouting report that is going through that Seattle Mariner dugout before facing Josh James said get it ready. And that means get it ready for the noise that he brings at close to 100 miles an hour consistently, and then he pulls a string at 89, 90 miles an hour with his changeup.
He has thrown 7 pitches to Nelson Cruz tonight. 3 of them have been changeups, and he has a swinging strike on all 3 of those. Now facing Denard Span with a 2-1 count. Cruz is going back to that scouting report saying, where did this nasty changeup come from? James misses arm side here. It's now 3-1 on Span, who popped up his first time up. James has allowed 2 singles so far. He's also walked the batter and struck out 5.
But you're right also in talking about the right on right changeup. A right-handed pitcher facing a right-handed hitter, you don't typically see that changeup because it either stays straight or tails back down and in to that right-handed hitter, and sometimes that can be a danger zone.
Just missed with the 3-1 pitch. Span draws the second walk of the night issued by James. He's a 1-out base runner. Well, James given a 4th spot in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Now he'll face Kyle Seager.
Be interesting to see if James could stay in this game long enough to face this lineup a 3rd time. That 4-run lead is definitely going to help him out, but I'm curious in the sense that first couple of ABs that he faces some of these right-handed hitters, he has thrown that changeup to get the swing over the top. Does he go to the slider in that 3rd AB to get some of these hitters and really mix things up and get them thinking?
It's a swinging strike on Seager to start this AB. Kyle struck out swinging his first time up. We have not seen the slider in play as much as the changeup tonight. Span has stolen 9 bases this year, but caught 4 times. The Astros defeat the Mariners tonight. Seattle will be eliminated from their AL West divisional hopes. Those hopes seem pretty strong for a while this season. The Astros and Mariners were battling for the lead in the first half of the year, and then that Oakland runaway train started in mid-June, and the Mariners just couldn't keep up. Played about 500 baseball over the last month or so, but with Oakland's pace, they kept falling further and further back. Seager takes a pitch upstairs. It's 1-2.
Haven't seen the slider command this evening either, so maybe it's becoming the changeup is his go-to secondary pitch until he finds that release on the slider.
Into left field. Marwin goes back, still moving back, makes the play as he crosses onto the warning track. Seager lines out the other way for out number 2. Yeah, I'd like to see James at least, assuming the pitch count's in good order, see that lineup a third time to see how he navigates through this Mariners lineup. Right now he's at 57 pitches and facing the number 7 hitter in the lineup, Ben Gamel.
AJ would love to see it because that means he's getting deep in the game and can save some of those guys in that bullpen too. But the offense can't stop. They've got to continue to press and put up more numbers.
Gamel misses the fastball. Gamel struck out swinging his first time up. James started the year in Double-A Corpus Christi. Made 4 starts there, a couple of relief appearances. Lengthy relief appearances, but came out of the bullpen a couple of times. Then promoted to Triple-A Fresno on May 6th. Spent the rest of the month of May, June, and July, and August with the Grizzlies, and then promoted to the Astros for his first big league start on the 1st of this month. We knew he had a live arm. We didn't know we'd see a hundo a few times. It's a strike there, 1-2.
It's exciting because you don't know when he's going to break it out.
Right. And it shows up. Yeah, 101.1, his highest velocity pitch of the season in his debut against the Angels in the first inning. It is also the highest recorded pitch by a starter this year, matching Shohei Ohtani. This ball sent the other way at 100 miles an hour. Ben Gamel pokes one into left field for a 2-out base hit. Third hit allowed by James, all singles.
Shift has been employed, but at 100 miles an hour, down and away. All you got to do is redirect it and let James supply most of the power.
No, 2 on and 2 outs for the second consecutive inning. Last time James had 2 on and 1 out, struck out Segura, got Cano to line out to end the inning. Now he'll face Chris Herman here, who walked his first time up.
before every game, the hitters will have a meeting and they'll talk about the starting pitcher that day, and then they'll also go through the relievers. But just imagine you're coming in and facing a rookie for the first time, and the first thing they say is he's got a fastball. And they say averages between 95 and 101. Because that's basically how it goes. They try and give you some of the lows and then the highs of each pitch. But that's a pretty excessive fastball for a young man making a first appearance against your ball club. And then you say, okay, he's got a slider and the occasional changeup. And all of a sudden, he's just throwing you the Bugs Bunny changeup after a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. You're going to see some funky swings.
Changeup's been thrown 15 times overall tonight with 7 swinging strikes, 2 called strikes, and 3 fouls. So 12 of the 15 changeups he's thrown has resulted in a strike.
Have been in the vicinity, at least close enough to either swing at, call, or foul off. That's a good sign.
This is upstairs. It's 1-1. McCann went out to talk to James after that first pitch. Runner on second base, wanted to make sure James was locked in on the signs.
I don't think I'm giving away too much, but it really feels like on that slider he slows down just a little bit, kind of wishing it in there instead of throwing that slider and really creating that sharp break.
There's a slider for a strike.
Thank you.
Well, one thing about James that we noticed from the start is he commands the fact that he's the one in control. Does not rush himself. When he wants to take his time, he'll take his time. A lot of poise out there. We have not seen him show any signs of nerve, whether he's pitched here in his debut or in Boston out of the bullpen in front of a packed house at Fenway. Pretty calm demeanor out there. From Hollywood, Florida, his parents grew up in the Virgin Islands. Now pitching at the major league level for his second big league start and his 4th big league appearance.
Definitely slows things down a little bit with runners on base.
And as the inning progresses too, 22 pitches into this inning, been working hard, just commands his presence on the mound. It's his time. He will throw the ball when he's ready. I don't think he's shaking Brian McCann hardly at all.
And he's smart.
Swing and a miss. Gets Herman on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball to end the inning. That is 6 strikeouts for James through 4.
Sportsnet hosts the annual charity game this Friday. Fans can purchase bags with autographed memorabilia, 2019 Astros tickets, exclusive t-shirts, and more. Bags are limited and can be purchased at the game, online, and over the phone. Visit astros.com/charity game for more info. TK?
All right, Julia, on we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Astros leading 4-0. Thanks to a 4-run third inning. Warwick Gonzalez a 2-run home run. George Springer an RBI. Jose Altuve an RBI. And now Mike Leake facing Carlos Correa to start the bottom half of the fourth. Correa flied out to center his first time up. Leake allowing 4 hits so far. He has hit a batter, not walked anybody. Foul ball. Cano gives it a look over his shoulder. The basket catch for out number 1. So on that AT&T Sportsnet and Astros Foundation charity game on Friday, there are special bags that you can purchase. 3 different levels. VIP bag, an MVP bag, a Cooperstown bag. You can purchase those over in center field or over the phone or online. Just check out astros.com/charity game for more info. That Cooperstown bag has Bagwell, Biggio, Nolan Ryan autographed baseballs. All on one.
I would say it's one baseball, 3 Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
3 Astro Hall of Famers.
Plus you get tickets in a suite, 4 tickets to a game next year.
The only thing concerning about that is the behind the scenes of broadcast.
Yeah.
Who knows what you're going to see on that.
I don't know what kind of value we're adding. But the Hall of Famers and the suite tickets and then the other 4 tickets for next year, that's
pretty solid.
That's quite a deal. Ewing down the count 1-2, grounds one towards Segura. And Gene makes the throw in time for the second out. Last inning before the Astros rally started, mentioned Leake is going to be 7 consecutive years, 200 innings, 50 or fewer walks. He and Greg Maddux, the only 2 to accomplish that in the last 99 seasons.
How many?
Since the live ball era, 1920.
99.
Next year we can say the last 100 years. But yeah, this is a guy that has a lot of command, eats up a lot of innings. Even though he hit McCann with an 0-2 pitch on his foot, or on his shin rather, he's usually right around the dish. Misses here to Bryan. It's 2-0. Maddux did it for 13 consecutive years.
His numbers are ridiculous over the years. And he was a 15-win pitcher for a good, felt like 20 years in a row too.
Just dialed it in and year out.
Not trying to discount what Mike Leake has done, but the numbers that Maddux was doing or putting up while doing the 200+ innings is incredible.
Yeah, the 30 starts and the 50 or fewer walks. It's an impressive number, but yeah, Maddux added a few other numbers to that Hall of Fame career. It's McCann now with a 3-2 count. Well, Leake has proved to be durable. He was years in the National League and now jumping over to the AL last year. McCann sends one high in the air to right field. Ben Gamble is there. And Leake has a 1-2-3-4. It is 4-0 Astros.
by your local Ford dealers. A couple of fireballers through the 80s for the Houston Astros. Nolan Ryan, J.R. Richard, career franchise leaders. Nolan in the strikeouts per 9 innings with 9.05, and then hits per 9 inning. J.R. Richard only giving up 6.88 hits per 9 innings. There's just some wicked stuff that these guys are bringing at a high velocity, much like Josh James. J.R. Richard with that power slider. Nolan Ryan had that little more traditional 12-6 breaking ball, and even mixed in a couple of changeups every now and then too.
Phenomenal numbers from those two, J.R. and Nolan. D. Gordon leads off the 5th inning. And the Astros always anticipate D. Gordon might lay down a bunt. He leads Major League Baseball in infield hits, and Alex Bregman plays about as close to D. Gordon as any hitter all year. Is that uncomfortable for you to watch as a former third baseman?
Yeah.
That is close.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, there's always the potential for somebody just to slash one at you at about 100 miles an hour, and you got to be on your toes ready.
He's not quite parallel with the mound, but he's not far off either.
No, I mean, the grass is pretty close. Then you're 2 or 3 steps in. Trying to respect the speed of D. Gordon.
Especially with a guy that can throw close to 100. You can get some line drives the other way. He misses this pitch, and it's 1-2.
What would Nolan Ryan and J.R. Richard do in this era of the swing and miss?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
As many innings as they threw, if they were able to maintain. If you put the amount of time they spent on the mound against some of these big league hitters these days, my goodness, those strikeout records would be even larger.
D tried to hold up, and he does. That's Brian Corbin.
Mr. Unhittable. 5,714 strikeouts, 7 no-hitters. Guess that'll earn you the nickname Unhittable.
I mean, just amazing numbers. It's hard to imagine, you know, to have a guy like Justin Verlander be halfway to Nolan's career total.
Yeah, you got plenty of work ahead of you. You just got to throw them till you're about 45, 50 years old.
Verlander's 3rd on the active list in strikeouts. And he's at 2,800 roughly.
Nolan Ryan struck out 308 guys at the age 42.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
This ball slashed the other way, but Marwin, does he have room? Yes, he does. Pair of balls, it turns out, right on the line.
League leaders are presented by Houston Methodist, and this is what we're kind of leading into this day and age. Go decade by decade, starting in 1978. Hits on the left-hand side, strikeouts on the right-hand side. And those numbers are accurate coming into every game today through Major League Baseball. 38,033 hits. 38,038 strikeouts. They're on pace to have the first season of more strikeouts than base hits in Major League Baseball.
Wow. We had our first month earlier this year.
And there's been 3 total, I believe, throughout the course of this season so far.
So the strikeout versus hit race will go right down to the wire this year. The Astros have a very good chance of setting the all-time mark for strikeouts by a rotation. Josh James adding 6 to that total tonight. Last year, the Indians rotation struck out 1,614. That was the entire staff strikeout, 1614. The Astros staff currently at 1578. Alex Bregman getting Josh James out of the way. That's a couple of pop-ups that James wants to go after. And Alex is like, I got you.
Yeah, going all Jose Altuve on it.
There's the pitcher, big man, getting right in there.
Now there were two guys right there saying beat it.
Gotta love the youthful exuberance. I'm going to go after every pop-up.
Those are his base runners. But it's the knowledge too. I mean, we're kind of cracking some fun, but you know, it's also because of the situation and the way the shift is set up. James is in the windup and he's watching where, you know, where he knows Brian McCann's range. He knows Alex Bregman is playing in a little bit of a shift, so he's just kind of going over there offering some help.
He's at 78 pitches right now. And because he's been used out of the bullpen the last couple of outings.
Alex letting Josh know, I got you.
He only threw 41 and 38 pitches in his 2 relief appearances, so we'll see how long AJ stays with him, but he's got to be impressed with this inning. A 1-2-3 fifth for Josh James. We are halfway home with the Astros leading 4-0.
Energy. We're going to flash back to Chris Burke. October 9th, 2005, in the 18th inning. Astros had to battle their way back to put themselves in position to tie that ball game up, and eventually it was Chris Burke with the big swing.
Our Twitter Tuesday topic, magical moments and the history of this building, Minute Maid Park, over 18 seasons. A lot of good entries tonight. Tony Kemp leads off the bottom half of the 5th inning for the Astros. He led off, or he was the second hitter in that 4-run inning in the 3rd inning, and he was right in the middle of things with a double down the right field line. Now 4 for 6 in his career against Mike Lee. Leake only 49 pitches through 4 coming into this inning. Chops one foul. It'll be Kemp and then George Springer and Jose Altuve. Springer and Altuve with RBIs tonight. And the count's full. And he freezes him with a little change up there for a strikeout. Third strikeout for Lee. And the first out of the 5th inning. Some memories of Enron Field turned into Minute Maid Park. First ever birthday greeting at Enron Field.
Gar and Bij.
Springer sends one to right field. Gamble drifts back, and he will have a play for out number 2. Fuji Family Fun Day. Took pictures with all the Astros back in 2004. 8 years ago, 12-year-old throwing out the first pitch. May 7, 2010, a trip to Paris.
Wow. It's a good day at the yard.
Altuve fouls one away. After the home run by Marwin Gonzalez that was overturned after a review, Leak has sent down the next 6 batters. Astros leading 4-0 after that 2-run shot by Marwin. Altuve down in the count 0-2. Jose has struck out and grounded out, but knocked in a run with that ground out. Broke his bat, roller towards D. Gordon. And the Astros retired 1-2-3. 7 in a row sent down by Leak, still 4-0. Sportsnet is brought to you by Rooms to Go, where you get great style and quality, all of the lowest prices on every item, every day. And by Nissan, innovation that excites. 6th inning baseball, Astros leading 4-0. Josh James back out there with 80 pitches on his ledger so far. They do have double barrel bullpen action going as James has the 3, 4, 5 hitters due up. Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz, Denard Span. Span begins a stretch of 5 consecutive lefty hitters, and Tony Sipp and Will Harris are warming up as the inning begins. But James may be on a hitter-to-hitter inning here as A.J. Hinch watches his young right-hander in his second major league start face these Mariners through 5, allowing 3 hits. He's walked a couple and struck out 6. Nose hit the ball hard a couple of times, lining a single his first time up and then lining out to center his second time. James has fallen behind 2-0.
How about the fact that A.J. Hinch is going to put him out there against this part of the lineup too? Give him a chance.
Beats him with a fastball. It's 2-1. Yeah, that's impressive. It's a 4-0 game. That gives him a little bit of wiggle room.
Oh, yeah.
But still, that's impressive to see him wanting to challenge these hitters for the third time. Cano on the ground, hits the bag, and that'll be a base hit. Yuli tracking it down, and Cano's going to get to second on the double that hits the bag. Cano continues to hit the ball hard tonight. He's a leadoff base runner for the Mariners in the sixth.
Even the best hitters get lucky every once in a while. That one hitting the bag and shooting over the head of Yuli.
I'll bring up Nelson Cruz, who has struck out a couple of times on the changeup tonight. As you were mentioning, James has thrown the slider a little more as the game's gone along after opening up with a lot of changeups. And he starts Cruz off with a fastball that he fouls away.
And it's been that fastball inside to Nelson. But it's not normal. I mean, even in this day and age when guys throw very hard, especially coming out of the bullpen. There's not too many starters that go out there that can pump 97 on an average and be able to locate on the inside corner. And if you think about it, if Josh James was in this rotation, you'd have close to 3 guys that are able to do that. Verlander, Cole, 4. Charlie Morton.
Yep.
Don't forget about him.
It's a tale of 2 rotations when Seattle takes on the Astros. We saw Wade LeBlanc, who does not touch upper 80s sometimes. Yeah. I mean, barely, you know, mid to upper 80s. You've got tonight's guy Leake, who rarely throws a pitch above 90. Felix Hernandez has seen his velocity go down. You got all these Astros arms that come out, and they're all in the 95 plus range.
Just rocket fuel.
And a swing and a miss. Got him with the slider. Just what you were talking about, third time through, seeing if he would go to the slider. And with all these lefties due up, A.J. Hinch comes out of the dugout. Josh James picks up his 7th strikeout of the night.
It was beautifully done, and Nelson Cruz has had some tough ABs against Josh James. He deserves a big round of applause.
Leaves the game with a 4-0 lead. A runner on second and 1 out in the 6th. Left-hander Tony Sipp, who enters the game with a runner on second base and 1 out.
A couple of lefties in this lineup for him to match up against. Tony Sipp on the season. This will be 50 appearances for him. That whip at 1.13, doing a good job of stranding inherited runners. Pitched yesterday 2/3 of an inning, giving up a hit, had a walk and a strikeout.
What a job by that guy, Josh James. 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 singles, and a double by Cano that hit the first base bag and bounced into right field. A couple of walks and 7 strikeouts, including getting Nelson Cruz 3 times, and now Sip facing the first of 5 scheduled lefties in a row. Denard Span takes a called strike. Span popped up and walked against James. Span and Seager, the first 2 to face Sip, have actually hit lefties better than righties this year. Span 321 against lefties, 267 overall. Sip faced 4 batters last night. Base hit, a walk, in 2/3 of an inning. In the air to center field, Tony Kemp is there. And Tony will put it away for out number 2.
The Astros take on the Angels in their final home series of the regular season. It's this weekend, and limited number of tickets are still available, starting at $20. For tickets, visit Astros.com.
Astros will be Angels fans for the next 3 games. Angels kicking off a 3-game series in Oakland tonight. Here's Kyle Seager, who is 0 for 2, strikeout and a lineout. Seager takes a called strike.
Good slider from Tony.
Seager's a .253 hitter against lefties, .221 overall. 35 of his 74 runs batted in, lefty on lefty this year. Tony misses. It's 1-1. Will Harris is ready. AJ likes Will on both lefties and righties.
One's a ball, one's a strike. TK, can you tell me which one?
Yep.
Just because it has the number 2 on it.
There's a foul ball. 1-2. Well, Tony's done a good job this year with inherited runners. He's one of the best, second in that percentage of inherited runners scoring in all of Major League Baseball. He inherited a runner here on second with 1 out. On the year, 35 runners inherited it, only 4 scoring. Staying away on Seager in this AB. Counts 2-2. Both teams with 4 hits. Astros bunching theirs with a 4-run third. Now the count runs full. These two have met a lot of times over their careers, Sip and Seager, 17 times in all. Early it was advantage Tony Sip. Seager was 1 for 14 against him to start his career, but his last 3 at-bats, he is a home run, a single, and a double. And stays alive here. Just missed, ball 4, a little bit low, and Seager in a good battle draws a walk. Then Gamble was due up, and instead they're going to call him back and go to a right-handed pinch hitter.
Trying to get that slider down and away. Good strike zone control by Kyle Seager, laying off that, taking the walk.
Ryan Healy announced as a pinch hitter. A.J. Hinch out to the mound. He has Will Harris, the righty, warming up, and that's who he will go to. So Harris versus Healy when we come back. By Nissan, here are tonight's clues. Who am I? Stores first round pick, MVP, MVP, MVP. If you know the answer, tweet it to @ATT Sportsnet SW on this Twitter Tuesday. So 2 runners on, 2 outs, 6th inning. Will Harris comes on for the Astros.
Last saw Will Harris against the Arizona Diamondbacks. 1 inning, gave up a hit, had a strikeout, only threw 13 pitches, 57 appearances on the season, and 64 strikeouts. Another quality swing and miss type guy for A.J. Hinch out of that bullpen.
Ryan Healy stays in there as the announced pinch hitter for Ben Gamble. Runner on second is Josh James' responsibility. Runner on first is Tony Sipp's responsibility, and Harris gets a strike on the foul ball to start this at bat. Ryan Healy went back to hitting coach Edgar Martinez after Will Harris was announced to check the stuff on Will. Hopefully he didn't look at their head-to-head matchups, because Will has done very well against him. 0 for 7 is Healy against Harris with 5 strikeouts. It would be good for the Astros if you looked at those matchup numbers. It's 1-1. Josh James started the inning, faced 2 batters. Tony Sipp came on, faced 2 batters, and Al Harris with a 2-1 count on Healy. AJ looks at that lineup card, which has a lot more permutations than it does in the other 5 months of the season. So many more options with expanded rosters, benches full, bullpens full. Holds up, it's 3-1.
Close. Did hold up.
Into center field, kept going back, and he will get there to put it away for the final out of the inning. Will Harris comes in and strands 2. We head to the bottom of the 6th, 4-0.
Customize your experience with home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
Alex Bregman will lead things off for the Astros, bottom half of the 6th. Bregman swings at the first pitch from Leake and fouls one through the rafters and out play. Not a bad idea for Alex. That's now 18 of 21 first pitch strikes thrown by Mike Leake. Bregman counting on the fact that he beat around the plate on that first delivery. Alex looking for his first hit in this game. Just 1 for 13 on the homestand. it out and fly it out tonight. And he pops this one foul. Mariners made some changes after Ryan Healy pinch hit for Ben Gamble. So Gamble is out. He was the right fielder. Mitch Haniger goes from center to right. D. Gordon from second to center. Robbie Cano from first to second. And Ryan Healy stays in the game at first. Broken bat, and Cano's going to get an opportunity at second to his left. Makes the play on Bregman for out number one. Mike Leake allowing 3 of his 4 hits in the 3rd inning, including a 2-run home run to the guy at the plate now, Marwin Gonzalez. Marwin owns half of the Astros hits tonight. Five consecutive hits against Mike Leake.
Last one, big 2-run home run.
Marwin's 18th of his career against the Mariners. By far the most he's ever hit against an opponent. Chases that one. It's 0-2. Astros leading this game 4-0, trying to reduce their magic number to get to the postseason. The Red Sox had a chance, or still do have a chance, to wrap up the AL East tonight with a win at Yankee Stadium, but they're down 3-1 in the 8th inning. Marwin sends one high in the air to center field, playable for D. Gordon, and that's out number 2.
The Astros road ahead is driven by DeMontronRV.com. Tomorrow is a Wednesday against these Seattle Mariners. Day off on Thursday, and then the finishing 3-game series against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim for the last 3-game set here at Minute Maid Park before heading on the road for 3 in Toronto, 4 in Baltimore to finish off the regular season. This is it.
Final dozen, Blummer, including tonight. Tyler White, the batter, takes a strike. Magic number of 9, so right now it would appear to be unlikely the Astros will be able to wrap up anything at home. They would need to lead the division by 7.5 games before they headed out of town. A little excuse me swing by Tyler, and Robbie Cano will make the flip for the final out. All of a sudden, Mike Leake's retired 10 in a row after the Gonzalez home run.
Big league career against these Seattle Mariners. We talked about how effective this big right arm can be against some right-handed power hitters, hopefully later in the season, if not the postseason. He had a test here against Nelson Cruz. 98-mile-an-hour fastball coming on the inside corner to set up. Change up down and away. It was a very effective pitch early on, and then he went inside again. And eventually in this last AB, he will finish him off with that slider going away. Seeing every pitch that Josh James has, and what you saw was a lot of command of 3 pitches, able to put a big hitter down 3 times. That was 3 strikeouts of Nelson Cruz out of the 7 that Josh James had this evening.
In only 10 pitches in those 3 at-bats.
Yep.
Well, the last 2 nights, and Nelson Cruz is going to be a free agent, so who knows if he's back with Seattle next year. But the last 2 nights, Nelson Cruz saw a terribly nasty sequence from Framber Valdez with a 2-seamer running away from him and a curveball in on his hands, and he struck out. And then he saw James with that changeup and then that slider to put him away. And maybe Nelson's thinking, I need to get out of this division if those guys are coming up, because that's some nasty stuff he has seen the last couple of nights.
Yeah, it might be a good call.
And I'll tell you this, and I don't think it's a secret for anybody that's currently in that Astros bullpen, as Herman hits one into the shift and Altuve makes the play. There's going to be some tough decisions to be made, and Josh James is making those decisions even tougher the way he's pitching in September.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. There's decisions to be made, and the bullpen being bolstered at the deadline with Presley, Osuna. You already had Rondon. He got roughed up last night, but Joe Smith has been coming on. Then all of a sudden you get the Flames James coming out there, and he is very appealing also because of the multi-innings that he's able to go out there and pitch.
Multi-innings, doesn't show any fear.
None.
And you know, his command has been good. The only runs he's given up all year long, a 3-run bomb and a 2-run bomb. He's 2 swings away from having incredible numbers.
Basically 2 pitches also.
Yep.
Take those back and he maybe throws something else or locates that slider better in Detroit, and you don't have to worry about those home runs. But he's on and able to locate like we saw tonight. He is very effective.
AJ put him in the highest leverage situation he'll ever see the rest of the way, and that was Fenway Park, sellout crowd holding on to a lead, facing the Red Sox lineup as Harris gets a little soft comebacker off the bat of D. Gordon, and Will has retired the first 2 batters this inning. Will came on in a big spot in the 6th with 2 on and 2 outs and got Ryan Healy for the final out of the inning. It's nice when you have 30 viable options or more for 25 spots, and that's basically what it feels like with the Astros headed towards the postseason.
Well, it gives AJ options too, because you reset your roster the further you go in the playoffs too, and it depends on matchups and things like that. But I'm pretty sure that if you were to make it today, you would say, or at least you'd be in that conference room having the meeting saying Josh James matches up with anybody with 100-mile-an-hour fastball, slider, and changeup.
Will facing the top of the order here, and Mitch Haniger trying to get through the 7th. And it's 2-0.
Again, you know, it's the right-handed hitters on those potential playoff teams that make him that much more appealing. Josh Donaldson now with the Cleveland Indians. Encarnacion. And if you get past that, we just saw him go through some strong right-handed hitters in Boston.
He also fared well tonight against the lefties. Cano seemed to see him pretty well and hit the ball hard.
Yep.
But the other lefties had 1 single. He did walk 3 of them, and that's something you'd like to see. Locking the zone a little better against the lefties. But just the 1 single by Gamble off of the lefties he faced other than Cano. And that was hitters 5 through 9 in the lineup. So that was a 1 for 12 with those walks in the middle too. 3-1 the count to Haniger. Mitch in infield hit in 3 at bats tonight.
Yeah, thankfully there's only 1 Cano in the league. Loves hitting off the Astros.
Into center field, Tony Kemp drifts back, makes the play. Will Harris, an inning and a 3rd, perfect. He has now gone 11 innings without allowing a run.
ball game. Came in that third inning and started off with a hit by pitch on Brian McCann. Right behind him, it was Tony Kemp lacing a double past Robinson Cano at first base. Second and third brought up George Springer, shooting a base hit back up the middle. Some good base running in this inning also. Tony Kemp eventually sprinting home on an Jose Altuve ground out to third base, and then the big swing of the inning. Marwin Gonzalez leaning back on Mike Leake and hitting that Oppo Taco home run here on a Tuesday for 2 runs.
So Leake's still in there with that pitch count. A very solid 68 to start the inning as he faces Carlos Correa. Carlos was the winner of the Stroh poll. The Astros fans wanted to see Correa here as the most important factor in the last 2 weeks to get rolling. Correa down on the count 0-2. Slider away, it's 1-2. So Leake will face Correa, Yuli Gurriel, and Brian McCann in this 4-0 game in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Nobody warming in the Mariners bullpen, and really no need to with his pitch count the way it is, and the fact that he's retired 10 in a row.
Yeah, just that one bad inning that we just showed you. But he's been locked down since that inning.
First time going into the 7th against the Astros this year. His previous 3 outings were all 6 innings of work. Has hit a batter, has not walked a batter. And Carlos fouling off a 2-strike pitch. Fly ball and a pop-up tonight for Correa. Sends this one to right. Haniger drifting, and nice catch in front of the wall and right. It's a tough play by Haniger, and he makes it for the first out. 2019 season tickets are now on sale, and fans who purchase now enjoy benefits like guaranteed 2018 postseason priority access. Visit Astros.com/season tickets or call 1-877-9-ASTROS for more info. Here's Yuli looking for his first hit. He's grounded down a couple of times, once into a fielder's choice. This one fouled out of play. 56 of 75 pitches for strikes tonight. And the first pitch strikes continue to be impressive for Mike Leake. Now 21 out of 24 first pitch strikes. Line drive, base hit. Yuli Gurriel headed towards the wall, but Haniger cuts it off. Yuli digging for second. He slides in safely. A 1-out double for Yuli.
Yuli's happy spot up and away. Lining that pitch into right center field. Wanted it down and away, ends up in that up and away portion of the plate. Again, there's certain spots for hitters that they don't have to think about much. They can just let the body react. And that's one of those spots for Yuli Gurriel. Good hustle, getting himself into scoring position.
Haniger leads the American League with 12 outfield assists. Had one last night, so Yuli really had to bust it to get into second. Here's Brian McCann. McCann was hit by a pitch on the shin and also flied out to right. Brian 5 for 16 in his career against Leake. 4 of those 5 hits are doubles. And he's got a 1-1 count here.
Seattle's been playing a pretty heavy shift on Brian McCann, but with the runner at second base, we've seen Seattle play Segura up the middle to protect and keep that runner close. So it kind of opens up that hole at second base for Brian McCann to maybe sneak one through and pick up an RBI.
There's a base hit into left center field. That'll score Uli. Brian McCann gives the Astros another run. It's now 5-0.
See the Astros take advantage of the last two hitters of pitches up in the zone. When Leake is going good, he's got that two-seam run down. McCutter and the slider breaking down, but these two staying up out over the plate. Brian gets extended, gets the barrel to it. Good line drive, base hit to pick up the RBI and get the Astros 5 runs ahead.
Now the Mariners will get their first bullpen action going. Colin McHugh's been warming up in the Astros bullpen. It'll be one of 14 arms in their bullpen. The right-hander Chasen Bradford loosening up. 14 bullpen arms to choose from, and also 9 on the bench. And Scott Service looks like he was just stalling there, sending Chris Herman out to talk to his starter. 81 pitches in to the game for Leake, but he's allowed 5 runs, including that base hit by McCann, and Service is going to get the ball from his starting pitcher. We'll have a new pitcher for the Mariners when we come back. It's 5-0 Houston. Here were today's clues. Stores first round pick, MVP, MVP, MVP. A lot of you had the correct answer tonight. George Springer, University of Connecticut, 11th overall pick in the 2011 draft, and of course the World Series MVP last year, taking over games 2 through 7 of that World Series, setting a World Series mark for most total bases in the Fall Classic. George Springer is on deck as the Astros will face a new pitcher. Tony Kemp will face Chasen Bradford.
Chasen Bradford comes at you with fastball, changeup, slider. Not a high velocity guy. Right around 90-92 with that fastball. He's appeared in 42 games, only 37 strikeouts. ERA sits at 3.38.
Oh, Tony Kemp will bat. He is 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. And swings through the first pitch.
Yeah, he's fastball slider to both righties and lefties. Lefties will see the occasional changeup, but heavy on that fastball slider from both sides.
Astros with 6 hits against Mike Leake. Leake did not walk a batter, did hit Brian McCann with a pitch, struck out 3. As Kemp sends one towards right field, Mitch Haniger comes in, makes the play for out number 2. And that will bring up the answer to tonight's Name That Astro, George Springer. Springer 1 for 3 RBI base hit. He's also scored a run. It was his 96th run scored on the year and his 18th in the month of September. Fouls one back. Red Sox have scored a run in the 9th inning. They're now down 3-2 in their quest to wrap up the AL East. Yankees got 3 runs on the Red Sox bullpen tonight after Nathan Eovaldi pitched 6 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball. Ball on the ground towards third, backs up Seager. He makes the play to get McCann on the force at second. And that'll do it for the Astros. But they add a run. It's now 5-0 headed to the 8th.
For you from tonight's Chevy Stroh poll. Which Astros role player that didn't play in 2017 postseason will have the biggest impact in 2018? And Martin Maldonado comes out the winner. That was a close one tonight. He gets 41%. Martin with a night off tonight, but has proven he's very valuable with his time so far with the Astros, guys.
Yeah, they can all add weapons to this Astros arsenal for the postseason. Final dollar dog night. Those fans are both happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah, I got to put those on the shelf for a while, huh? It's too bad.
New pitcher for the Astros is Colin McHugh. And he faces Gene Segura to start the inning.
Colin got himself an inning against the Arizona Diamondbacks for that 52nd appearance. Did a good job. It was a clean inning through 11 pitches. Still got that whip under 1, which is a very good thing. 88 strikeouts out of the bullpen for Colin McHugh.
Ahead quickly 0-2. McHugh charged with a couple of runs in his last outing. It's the first time his ERA has been above 2 since his second appearance of the season. Most of the season it's been around 1 or lower, and he'll face the 2, 3, 4 hitters here for the Mariners. Gene Segura, Robinson Cano, and Nelson Cruz in this 5-0 game. Yankees were able to hold on and at least for one night avoid Boston celebrating a division title on their home turf as they win 3-2 tonight. Yankees also trying to make sure they stay as the top wild card team in the American League. American League wildcard game will be 2 weeks from tomorrow. 2-2 the count. Segura 0 for 3 tonight. Is bounced out, struck out, and flied out. And he pops this one high in the air. George Springer settles under it, calls off Altuve for the first out. Good job by Will Harris tonight. 4 batters. He retired all 4. Came on in a big spot with a 4-run game, 2 on 2 outs in the 6th. Got Ryan Healy, and then a 1-2-3 7th, and now Colin in the 8th. All in all, AJ knew with Framber Valdez and Josh James going back to back that he had 2 young pitchers in the middle of trying to lock up a postseason berth, and he wasn't sure exactly what he was going to get. He ended up getting 10 1/3 scoreless innings as Cano's hit the ball hard all night long, sends one to right field. In and out of the glove of Springer. Jake gets the ball back in. George thought he had it on a spectacular catch, but somehow it came loose, and he is frustrated.
Wow. No way did I even think he was going to have an opportunity to even lay out and get a glove near this thing, and he about comes down with it. Cano thinking extra bases. It's also good to see George getting up just at the end of his glove and unable to hold on as he made impact with the earth. He couldn't believe it. He thought he had it. I did too, George. Wow.
At that point,
he was ready to celebrate with his boy. Oh.
He didn't realize till after the ball was already being retrieved by Jake that he didn't have it. Right here, he thinks he has it. He thinks he has it. He thinks he has it here. How can you not love the reaction?
That was great.
George Springer on the baseball field. He is highly entertaining, even on a play that he almost makes a spectacular play and can't quite come up with.
That would have been absolutely incredible.
He's telling Jake what happened.
Or either that or Jake's telling him I would have caught it.
Yeah, he could have shown up. He could have tallied one for himself after Jake showed off a little bit last night.
Jake reminding him he's perfect. Wow.
I'm with you though. I didn't even think he was going to get leather on it. That was quite an effort. Took a big divot out of right center field too.
Yeah, he left his mark, didn't he?
George is still frustrated. He's still talking to himself.
This is our vantage point. It's a long way to go, and I just figured it was going to tail away from him, but he he basically outran a baseball. Can't get enough of the reaction.
Cruz down in the count 1-2. And Allen tries to break over the curveball and misses just inside. It's 2-2. Cruz had a tough time facing Josh James tonight. 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts on a total of 10 pitches. And McHugh and Cruz continue to battle.
Cruz is happy to have Josh James out of this ball game.
That hit by Cano, his 3rd of the night, 5 hits for the Mariners. Cano has the 2 extra base hits tonight for Seattle. And ground ball towards Correa. Is going to have to hurry, and safe at first base is Cruz. Nelson running a lot better now than he did when we saw him earlier in the year. And he beats out that little chopping hit.
Kind of slowed up going into the bag, kind of stutter stepping as he goes in. See him chopping the steps.
Oh,
hey,
we got something. I'm changing my scorebook, Blummer.
I'm going to hold off a little bit.
I'm putting 6-3 down. Getting aggressive. In pen. Good pick by Yuli.
Great pick by Yuli.
Yeah, you're right, though. The steps were a little off at the very end.
Well, he was trucking, like you said. He was moving pretty good down the line, which surprised me, too, because earlier in the season, the ankles and some of the muscle issues that he was having, he wasn't running very well, but he was running great in comparison. But right here, the last like 10 or 12 feet took about 3 or 4 extra steps, it felt like.
Yeah,
that's going to be the difference between a base hit and not.
Instead of 2 long strides at the end, he chopped up 3 little strides.
He almost walked off the base after seeing the replay.
I'm telling you, it's in pen right here, 6-3.
It's pretty aggressive considering what the Astros have gone through. Hey!
So that's a big out right there. Instead of first and third, 1 out. McHugh will work with a runner on third and 2 outs. This week on Astros Bases Loaded, the best road team in baseball got a boost of fan support in Boston. We'll go behind the scenes at Fenway with AJ Hinch. And Justin Verlander makes an emotional return to Detroit. All that and more on Astros Bases Loaded after the postgame show, exclusively on AT&T Sportsnet. Now Colin faces Denard Span. Span takes a pitch outside for ball 1. Span is 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Denard hitting an even .400 in his career against the Astros, 20 for 50. They're underway in Oakland this evening as Liam Hendricks opened that game for the A's, and then they went to Daniel Mengden in the second inning. Tyler Skaggs pitching for Los Angeles. Angels and A's scoreless in the bottom of the second. 3-0 on Span. And Colin with a 4-pitch walk. We mentioned Colin's ERA above 2 for the first time all year. And a few more walks than he would like this month. Although that pitch could have easily been called strike.
I feel like we've seen a lot of 2-out walks recently. Yeah, but that last pitch, not a terrible pitch.
Could have easily been a strike. Now he'll face Kyle Seager and Brent Strom out to talk to Colin McHugh.
Everyday Ryan Presley.
Ryan Presley warms up in the Astros bullpen. Well, AJ has not to this point used a pitcher 3 consecutive days. If Ryan Presley gets in the game, that will be 3 in a row.
And he's already been the most taxed reliever out there in that bullpen for AJ Hinch between Minnesota and here in Houston. The mid-70s in appearances.
So for a lot of reasons, the Astros would love to see Colin McHugh get Kyle Seager right here. Seager has struck out, lined out, and walked. He faced Tony Sipp his last time up, first 2 ABs against Josh James. Seager walked against the lefty Sipp. Arm side outside. 1-0. McHugh and Seager have matched up 34 times through the years. Colin has held Kyle to 5 hits and 34 at bats, a 147 average. 12 strikeouts in those 34 ABs. But misses with a curveball here. It's 2-0. 6 straight out of the zone in this 5-0 game. There's a swinging strike.
Seager chasing that pitch up, kind of letting McHugh back into the AB.
Popped high in the air, shallow left, coming on Marwin. He will get there. Astros strand 2 more runners. We head to the bottom of the 8th. It's still 5-0.
And it was a magical evening. Game 5 of the World Series in 2017 right here at Minute Maid Park. Astros come back from a 4-run deficit against Clayton Kershaw. And then the roller coaster ride began. A lot of emotions, a lot of well-hit baseballs. Both teams punching, counter-punching. Fans in for every up and down of that ball game.
Pretty important insurance home run there for BMAC because they would tie it up, and then Alex with the thrilling walk-off scoring Derek Fisher.
Still hard to believe that that was Alex's first career walk-off hit in his career in Game 5 of the World Series. And I know for us sitting in the stands, it was equally as emotional. Everybody in this stadium was invested in that game.
Greatest games, regular season, postseason you'll ever see. Game 5 of the World Series, 13-12 on the Bregman walk-off. Alex will bat second in this inning. Jose Altuve will lead things off. Nick Rumbelow, the new pitcher for the Mariners.
Rumbelow's fastball, changeup, curveball, cutter guy.
Missed on the first 2 to Altuve.
There's so many names on these scouting reports coming out of the bullpen for Scott Service. Tough to keep it in line and figure out who's who.
3-0 Altuve. 0 for 3 tonight with an RBI ground out. Julia?
Had a chance to get to Altuve today and had just a really good perspective about last night's loss, which was a tough one for this group, and said, last night's last night. I believe in this offense. We have had disappointing days throughout the season, but we're right where we want to be. We know what we're capable of, and so he's not worried at all. He also said this is just really an exciting time for his club as they have a chance to win a division. That Game 5 of the World Series, all that video, that's exactly where Altuve thinks this team should be once again. So they are excited that the adrenaline starts to pick up about this time of year, knowing there's only so many games left on the regular season schedule. But Altuve very excited, very happy with the way things are going for his Astros guys.
Yeah, good to see. I mean, it's one of those years where unfortunately the injury, the 21 games missed, will cost Altuve a chance to lead the league in hits, and has a long way to go to lead in batting average as well. But all about the team right now for Altuve, as he tries to hold up on a low 3-2 pitch, and he does. He draws a walk to start the bottom half of the 8th inning for the Astros. Showed you Game 5 of the 2017 World Series. I'm sure anything can ever beat the end of Game 5 of the World Series last year up in the stratosphere, but it was worth every penny. Got some great tweets of videos from fans in attendance of Game 5. Game 5, no question, that last viewer said. There were some emotions, just wow. I mean, from the start of that game, Kershaw never gives up a 4-run lead anyhow.
Literally never.
And he gave up a 5-run lead and a 4-run lead that night. So 2 different times to a guy who never gives up a lead, especially when his team scores 4 runs, he's automatic, except for in that game in the postseason.
Yeah. Say during the regular season, he is perfect.
Altuve, Gurriel, 3-run home runs. Alex Bregman looking to get on base for the first time tonight. He's 0 for this series against the Mariners. 0 for 3 tonight, and Alex had his on-base streak snap last night with an 0 for 4.
Going with the Jose Cruz stirrup look.
Like that.
Not many can pull that off.
Has he had that look all night?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we've known him to change in the middle of a game.
Yeah, he's a little moody.
2-1 to count. Alex reaching all those round numbers in that final game at Comerica Park against the Tigers, but has sat on those numbers pretty much in this homestand with the exception of 1 run scored. Still at 30 home runs, 50 doubles, 100 RBIs, now 101 runs scored. He has added to his walk total, which is up to another round number at 90. Two and two. Below will throw more sliders to righty. He'll feature that changeup a little more to lefties. Third pitcher for the Mariners, Mike Leake, 6 1/3 innings. Chasen Bradford 2/3, and now Rumbelow. Second straight full count. Altuve drew a walk, and now Bregman with a 3-2 count. Tampa Bay leading Texas 4-0 as they play in the 8th inning. Rays involved in the Astros' ability to clinch a playoff spot with a magic number of 3. Altuve on the go, swing and a miss, and Altuve will be out at second base. Strikeout, throw out, double play. We're going to look at this. Altuve went in standing.
Is that toe on the bag?
Appears to be. Now Altuve, it wasn't a straight Steele, obviously, it was a 3-2 pitch. He was on the move and decided to go in standing, and he may have beat the tag.
Yeah, the throw was offline.
We have a decision. Safe.
How about it?
Now Altuve picks up his 17th steal of the year. And the first one where he hasn't had to slide.
Kind of bucking the trend with these reversals on the reviews, huh?
Is that 3 tonight?
Yeah.
Astros came into this game in the bottom 5 of the 30 major league teams. So that'll bring up Marwin Gonzalez. Marwin's had a good night, 2 for 3, 2-run home run. He also flied out to center.
Chance to drive in another run.
Astros had Roberto Osuna warming up to start the inning. Chris Davinsky has been warming more recently. There's Osuna. AJ has a 5-run lead to work with. And a strike. It's 1-1. $35,715 tonight at Minute Maid Park on the final Dollar Dog night of the year. Two and 1 to count. Marwin with his 16th home run of the year. 11 of the 16 have been as a left-handed hitter. Astros trying to defeat the Mariners for just the 2nd time this year here at Minute Maid Park. Seattle has won the last 5 contests here in Houston. Ball down. Rumbelow, who had 2 full counts to start the inning, struggling with the strike zone, is now 3-1 to Marwin.
Pitches for Rumbelow, 10 of them have been out of the zone.
There's a walk. 2 walks in the inning, and the Astros with 1st and 2nd and 1 out.
Come out to the ballpark this Friday for Friday Night Fireworks presented by Occidental Petroleum. The best fireworks show in town takes place after this Friday's Astros-Angels game. Visit astros.com/Friday nights for tickets.
Little meeting on the mound here with 2 runners on and 1 out. Mel Stoudemire Jr., the pitching coach, out to talk to Rumbelow. This is danger time because the shark usually feeds late at night.
Yes, he does.
Tyler White, the majority of his home runs lately have come 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And he will bat here with 2 on and 1 out. Takes a strike. White 0 for 3 tonight. High fly ball to left field. Span going back. Over from center comes Gordon. They let it drop in between them. Altuve will score. Marwin to third. Astros lead 6-0 on a ball that landed on the warning track in left center.
Wow.
He still feeds late, even on a fly ball.
They're afraid of sharks out there. Both players converging on this long fly ball off the bat of the Meg. They couldn't figure out who was going to go for it. D. Gordon in center field again. Usually the center fielder takes charge, but he was watching for Denard Span, who was watching for the center fielder D. Gordon.
An RBI double for Tyler White to make it 6-0. And now Kyle Tucker is going to get an at-bat as a pinch hitter for Carlos Correa. Tucker just added to the roster as the Fresno Grizzlies season ended over the weekend in Memphis. They lost the PCL championship to Memphis, and Tucker with a pinch hit appearance here against Nick Rumbelow. This is one down. It's 0-1. This will be Tucker's third stint with the Astros. Made his big league debut on July 7th. Tucker named Baseball America AAA Player of the Year after his .332 season with 24 home runs and 93 runs batted in. Ground ball right side. That'll bring home a run. Cano makes the play. Tucker grounds out for the second out. In to score is Marwin. It's now 7-0. Kyle Tucker, a pinch hit RBI ground out.
Quality AB. Infield playing back like he said. Take advantage of it.
Fourth major league RBI for Tucker. That'll bring up Yuli. Well, the Astros have been kind of gifted a couple of runs in this inning. If you think back to the strikeout by Bregman, Altuve could have easily been caught stealing. The throw was wide. Now Altuve snuck in there. And the fly ball by Tyler White could have been caught by either Span or Gordon. Instead, it was caught by neither. And the Astros taking advantage by adding to this lead. It's now 7-0. So Roberto Osuna has grabbed the seat. It will be Chris Davinsky's inning in the ninth. Yuli doubled and scored a run his last time up. Astros up to 7 runs on 7 hits. Both walks issued by Rumbelow have come around to score in this inning.
See the Astros adding on some insurance here late in the ball game. It's really been feast or famine here at home for the Houston Astros. Struggling mightily yesterday against Wade LeBlanc, but here today they putting up some big numbers.
They add on 2 more, so 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, giving the Astros a 7-0 lead. Sportsnet is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Good night tonight for the home team. The Astros leading 7-0. Trying to defeat the Mariners and snap this 5-game winning streak Seattle has at Minute Maid Park. The Astros go to the 9th with Chris Davinsky coming on to try and get the final 3 out.
Devo in a bit of a rough spot this season, trying to work out of it. Coming off the DL, he has made 45 appearances this season. That ERA at 4.32. He'd like to correct that here. Big lead. Be aggressive with some of these pitches. Hopefully have a clean inning.
A lot of changes behind Davinsky defensively that we'll catch you up with as Devo will face the bottom third of the Mariners lineup. Ryan Healy, Chris Herman, D. Gordon due up against Davinsky. And the first pitch is a strike from Devo. Kyle Tucker, who pinch hit, stayed in the game. He's in left field. Line drive caught by Altuve. Healy hit it on the nose. He's hit the ball hard twice tonight and has nothing to show for it. 0 for 2. But Tucker stays in the game in left. Miles Straw, who came on as a pinch runner and saw some action defensively, makes his second appearance in a major league game. J.D. Davis will be at third base. Marwin shifts in from the outfield to play short, and the rest stay the same. Down and into Chris Herman. Herman 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. We haven't seen Miles Straw pinch run yet in a situation where he is trying to steal a base.
Yeah, I want to see him run.
Me too.
Rumor has it he's the fastest player in the organization, top to bottom.
Yeah. Jake may be in trouble if the StatCast leaderboard gets updated because he has been the fastest player all year on this Astros roster. Jake's actually the fastest player on either side. I was looking at the numbers before the game. He's faster feet per second than D. Gordon.
That's impressive.
But that guy, if he starts getting clocked, might have something to say about it.
Hey, boy.
J.D. Davis compared him in an article I read today to Billy Hamilton with his speed.
What?
I mean, it's his teammate, so maybe a little hyperbole, but still, when you're close to that level.
Yeah, we've seen Billy Hamilton do some crazy stuff flying around the bases.
There's a line drive base hit. Well, Chris Herman, a 1-out base runner. Well, George almost made a phenomenal catch earlier in this game.
Really did. Trying to rob Robinson Cano. Ranging deep into the outfield. Thought he had it. Then full deflation when he didn't see the baseball in his glove.
He went from a smile to a frown in a hurry.
You know, some of the guys in the dugout were going to have some fun with him.
AJ,
and it's the manager right in the middle of it. Sometimes you got to brush the dirt off your shoulder.
I like that. Good reference. Well, here's the hero of last night's game for the Mariners, Daniel Vogelbach. Hit a grand slam last night to give the M's a 4-1 victory. He is pinch hitting here for D. Gordon. Takes the changeup for a strike. You know, it's been a tough year for Chris Davinsky. Here's a guy who was such a key component to that bullpen the last couple of years and just hasn't had that consistency this season. He'd like to finish the regular season strong. He's given up a couple of line drives in this inning. One was caught, the other was a base hit, and now 3 straight changeups, and he's ahead 1-2 on Vogelbach. And the Devo hats are out.
Do you have to bring the Devo hat to every single game just in case he gets in?
Seems to be the only way it works. Yuli will flip to Devo for out number 2. It's Vogelbach Grounds out as a pinch hitter. Now the Astros 1 out away. They will try and reduce their magic number to 2 for a playoff appearance, as you see the fans with the Devo hats behind the plate. If Tampa Bay holds on to win in Arlington tonight, and they're winning that game 4-0, then the Astros will have a day game tomorrow. If the Rangers are able to beat Tampa Bay either coming from behind tonight in the 9th inning or tomorrow during the afternoon, then the Astros will have a chance to clinch a playoff spot as early as tomorrow night. Christopher Negron will pinch hit for Mitch Haniger. Never a bad thing for the Astros when Haniger doesn't get an at bat. But obviously Scott Service wants to get some young guys some ABs. We saw Negron pinch run in last night's game and scored on that grand slam. Josh James for 5 1/3 innings tonight. 4-hit shutout baseball. James is looking for his first major league victory. Tony Sipp pitched a third of an inning. Will Harris a very impressive inning and a third, retiring all 4 batters he faced. Colin McHugh pitched the 8th, and now Devo trying to close things out in the 9th. Was with Arizona earlier in the year, acquired by Seattle at the end of August, August 30th. And he's down to the count here, 1-2. And these fans who stuck around of the 35,715 will all get up here. Swing and a miss as they peel to first. And Trip Gibson says he went around. Devo with a strikeout. And the Astros win it by the final score of 7-0. Win number 95 on the season for the Astros. Their magic number to win the division is down to 8. Their magic number to clinch a playoff spot is down to 2. In the process, Seattle losing their 68th game. They have been eliminated from any hopes of an American League West Division title. Astros win it. It is a 5-pitcher combined shutout. We'll have more, including the post-game show after this.